All right, thank you. Item number 4, discussion of possible legal action regarding premium protein products. I know we have one individual in the audience here who signed up to speak on that. And this information was provided. There was considerable information provided to you in regard to this. And we're open for discussion from the bench.
Is anybody here who is considering being a plaintiff in the lawsuit?
Mr. Fomborg is here, who would like, he is the one who signed up and would like to address the council. Yes, yes, sir. Go right, yeah.
This is something that you should read. It's a new one that just come out. I talked to Lakeisha today. It's actually a 20-page report on all of the violations. Even one, I don't know if it's a violation on the city's part, but it's up to the city to respect the rules, and I don't know if the city does it. You might want to read those, but it is a 20-page.
Yes, sir. Would you state your name and address the...
My name is L.J. Faubourg. I live on Neptune Street here in Russellville. And this might sound like kind of a saga when I'm getting into it, but I'll make it quick. A couple weeks ago, we had the neighborhood watch. And it's for Neptune, Pluto, and portions of 18th Street. After the meeting was over, a gentleman stood up and he wanted to talk about the odors that's in Russellville, and how the city is permeated with such a stench. He said that 30 plus years ago, he went to Arkansas Tech. And during his time there, the smell was so bad that the college would bring the students back in so they didn't have to smell this. And this tells me that this thing has been going on for 30 plus years, and the city hasn't done a doggone thing about it. We was talking, now what else can we do? Now this sounds like a threat, and it isn't a threat. But we can bring on a class action lawsuit against the city for failure to adequately protect the quality of life of its citizens. We don't want to threaten the city. We don't want a lawsuit. But if you're going to continually sit on your hands and let this stuff go on, then we will do it. Another thing I don't understand is you, Mayor Eaton. When I talked to you a week after I spoke to you about this meeting, you said bring as many people as I can to City Hall that you need to support. What do you need to support for? You know what it smells like. You told me it stunk at your home. You told me it stunk down here, and it's all over town. Now, every one of you people have smelled it. You've been around a long time. I've lived here for 7 years, and the rest of you have lived here for a long, long time. Like I say, it's not a threat, but we will go on with it if you don't do a doggone thing about it. I'm tired of going out on my deck and smelling the stench of dead animals. I hate to see the facility closed. I don't want to see anybody lose their job. But it's up to you people, instead of sitting on your hands, to work with these people, with the rendering works, and get something done. Now, I've got the names of the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. If you need it, I'll give it to you, but I'm sure, Mayor, you have it. I'm going to leave it up to you. If you got a question, I'll be glad to answer for you. Does anybody else have any questions?
There's currently a consent administrative order in operation, isn't that correct?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
So there's currently a consent administration order from ADEC at work right now, isn't there? Isn't there a consent administrative order pending?
There
Yes, there is, I see, right, yeah. CAOLIS 14009. What are benchmarks that the corporation is supposed to be meeting in order to comply with the CAO? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay. Thank
Now, I
you, sir.
gave the mayor some information, maybe it might be on that.
I'm looking at that right
I
now.
don't think
I'm trying
that
to-
that's the same one that I give the mayor.
Just now it is.
I just handed it down to Mr. Irwin there.
Is there any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Feinberg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here from Premium Protein Products who would like to speak at this time? Yes, sir. Come to the microphone and state your name.
My name is Dan Craig. I'm the manager of the Premium Proteins product in question over here at Bernice Avenue. I can tell you I've been there for less than 2 years, and it's true that this facility is very old. It was started in 1954 as Standard Rendering Company. When I took this job, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. It has changed hands no less than 4 times in those last 60-some years. And it seemed like every person that purchased it took everything they could out of it and just let it run down. When I took this facility, it was an uphill battle. But in the last 18 to 20 months, Pilgrim's Pride has authorized myself through the requisitions that I've asked for. Over $869,000 is what we have spent in the last 18 to 20 months. We've called in 5 major national consultant firms for odor abatement systems. There's been countless hours spent on doing improvements to this. Yes, I recognize the fact that there is upsets, but I could probably ask, there's upsets in every business. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Like I said, we have more plans to be instituted there. I work closely with our Colorado office. Pilgrim's Pride purchased this group, and then Pilgrim's got purchased by JBS Company a few years back. And so now I'm in contact with Colorado, and that's where our general offices are. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody would like to have me. Council members, Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
Yes, sir.
How much can you do to stop the smell? I'm gonna have to agree with the guy out here.
Mm-hmm.
I live on the south side of town, not very far out, but I smell it nearly, well, not every day, but I can smell it. It's bad.
Yes, and that's my goal. That's what I've been commissioned by that's the reason why they hired me to bring me into this operation.
Have you been ticketed for the smell or not, or is it up to standard?
What do you mean?
The what? What is?
Yeah, they have received, Mr. Wiley, they have received several citations over a period of time.
We have corrective actions orders, yes.
So have you corrected those?
The corrective action orders have been addressed, and by
Well,
that,
addressed and completed is 2 different things.
that is correct, sir.
These are consent administrative orders or correction action?
The corrective action, CAOs, corrective action order. We have those from the ADEQ.
Well,
Chemistry-wise, we're well within the guidelines of Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. Some of the
Okay.
things that they had mentioned is some of the aesthetics, like we have a lot of standing water. We have very old concrete. This facility's was started in 1954, then it was relocated in 1974. And that concrete is very, very old, so therefore we have a lot of ponding water. And that was one of the corrective action orders, is to get rid of the ponding water.
Does Citicorp inspect the ponds?
Citicorp does, yes, sir.
You have, I guess you have record of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Craig,
No?
On the report that I give the mayor, that report was, you were just inspected not very long ago.
That's correct.
What is the open barrels of product sitting outside?
The barrels in question that they took the pictures of, I don't know if you had the pictures of that, Mr. Clover, or not, but the pictures were from the fellows who were opening up the doors, removing the waste from the previous shift, bring them outside, close the doors, and then they take them over there. At that time is when the picture was taken. There's no open barrels. That's part of our...
That's it, open barrels.
Yes, I agree, but that was because the men were just taking them out of the facility at the end of the shift to take them over to dispose of them.
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
question. You said over the last 18 months, y'all have spent some money and made improvements.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking at the ADQ report, and I read about 9 or 10 reports here in 2014 and about 5 or 6 in 2013, and then I read on back to 12 and 11, and I don't see reduction in the number of reports over the last 18 months or what was there previously. So I'm just curious, if you made improvements, when I would kind of expect the number of reports to go down and not remain the same or increase. So can you kind of clarify that for me?
Are you referring to Mr. Borman's letter of August 20th?
No, I'm reporting this ADQ report that I was provided.
Well, I don't have that in front of me, so I don't know which one that is. But I know that there was a lot of paperwork reported on one of the reports from the ADEQ. If that's what you're referring to, that's paperwork issues.
Mr. Craig?
Yes, sir.
Where does most of the material come from that you work there? Does it come from the Russellville area or where?
It comes from the surrounding area, yes, sir. It comes from different grocery stores, different small mom and pop butcher shops, that type of things.
Do you receive material from considerable distance, such as other parts of the state or outside the state of Arkansas?
Batesville, Arkansas is about the farthest. we can go.
Batesville?
yes.
No other
Silent
outside the
Springs.
state of Arkansas?
Not to my knowledge, I don't believe we do anything from outside of Arkansas.
Siloam, you said Siloam?
Silent Springs, yes.
And they're bringing in truckloads of material from mom and pop grocery stores?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Somebody has to take it. You can't bury this stuff. The rendering facility disposes of 59 billion pounds a year. Rendering is very old. It's one of the very old systems. And what Pilgrims has done in the last several years is we have been on the cutting edge of technology to get rid of this. We've always had that problem. Every person, I mean, I've been in rendering over 30 years now, and that's always been an issue. But technology is doing its best to keep up with the demands of it. This facility in Russellville, Arkansas, is scheduled to do 10 million pounds a week. We're doing 2.2, so I'm less than a quarter of its capacity. So I'm not over capacity whatsoever. But I am dealing with some very, very old equipment. One of the pieces of equipment in there is used for hydrolyzers of feathers. It's 1931, and we use it every day. It's one of my more reliable pieces of equipment. But this is what I'm facing every day that we come through there, and Pilgrims understands that. And that's the reason why they allocated over $800,000 in the last 18 months of my tenure there.
Well, I think we all know, though, that there are days when it's really, really almost unbearable, and it reaches all across this city. And then there are days where if you're not in that immediate industrial area, you hardly even notice it. And I applaud the 800 and whatever thousand that you say you've spent, but part of your air quality permit requires certain things in your operations.
Mm-hmm.
And the stack of papers that we received last week, you're repeatedly written up for not closing your doors, which on the surface doesn't sound like a big deal, but that's what's required to create negative pressure in your plant. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
If you leave those doors open, what keeps the smell in the plant instead of out?
Well, test results have shown that even with the major doors open, when I bring the truck materials in, I still have enough, I have over 150,000 CFM going into the building every time. So when that door is open, it still maintains a negative pressure, which I pointed out to Mr. Borman of the ADEQ during one of his visits.
And what does your air quality permit require that you do for operations?
As far as which area, sir?
Well, I think we were just talking about the doors, were we
The
not?
doors are kept closed until we have to go, like we have to take materials out, we have to bring materials in.
And you're just unlucky in the fact that ADEQ multiple times has mentioned keeping the doors shut. And they mentioned trailers left on the parking lot out there that have not been cleaned out multiple times in these reports we got.
Well, I can't.
I believe that's part of your air quality permit also, is it not?
Yes, it is. And during the last visit, Mr. Ben Borman was at my facility. He personally got up inside those stage trailers to look at them. And that is part of the protocol we have there. Every single trailer is washed out, every single load. That is mandatory. I don't know what it was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. When I was a young engineer, I came to this facility. And I know what it was like 30-some years ago.
Do,
Craig, if you don't mind, I've got a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Looking
Yeah.
here at the ADQ report, it states that you have 4 boilers permitted for 5. What is a boiler?
We got 700 horsepower boilers. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, what is the boiler? What's it do in your facility?
That's the one that generates steam.
Okay? Is that part of the smell or part not of the
No,
smell?
we generate steam to cook the process. The
Okay.
materials for rendering is basically what you do is you take the materials, you put it inside of a large rotating device, and rendering means render off water, and that's basically what the rendering process is.
Okay, next question. Incinerator, does that affect the smell?
Now, incinerator is 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also a known fact that you cannot keep any kind of mercaptans, amines, hydrosulfide gases in that temperature, so that eliminates it. That's part of the odor abatement system.
So the incinerator plays a very big role, is
Yes,
what you're
sir.
saying. Okay, because stating right here, and this is from the most recent, the gentleman handed the mayor the most recent report, it says that you failed to maintain a minimum temperature of 1,400 degrees on 3 different days within, no, I'm sorry, 6 different days, and records were within this year, and records were missing from June. So does that, is there any relation to this write-up and the smell that we all have to suffer?
The records are indicated, which we did find today, those missing records that Mr. Borman was not given, but they were in place. He just wasn't given copies of those. Where it was out of compliance, it had dropped down about 100 degrees. Anything over 1,000 degrees is going to burn up any kind of mercaptan. And these dropped down around 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and it was for a short period of time. It was like an hour here, 2 hours there, so on and so forth. And that may have been a mixture of a problem with gas. It could have been some type of a mechanical issue. But it was quickly repaired, as the records indicate.
My last question for you, I think, is whenever any of us suffer this smell because it's outrageous, it's horrendous, and any other word to describe it, what can we do as a citizen, resident, or a city to address that the second it happens? How can we find out what that is, why, and when it's going to be fixed?
All I can do is, I've contacted, like I said, I'm working closely with chemical consultants. We're doing everything as far as checks and balances. I have my production managers here with me tonight to discuss the gravity of this matter. It is a grave issue. It is obtainable. It can be done. It's going to take some more effort on Pilgrim's facility part.
But you still didn't answer my question. What can we do to find out what the problem is when the problem is there and know when it's going to be fixed?
If that answer was that easy, I'd give it to you. I don't have the answer to that question. As I said, I've been in this business 30 years. Each facility is different. The Russellville facility is different than anything I've ever been in. Now, I've been in poultry, I've been in beef, I've been in various other facilities, not just in this country, but outside this country. And it is a very, very complex issue. So I can't tell you what the one thing to do to stop this problem.
Is there a phone number or whether it be a toll-free number or a local number where someone can call, or, because nobody wants to go outside, nobody even wants to drive down the road. It's horrible.
I've supplied my number, my cell phone number, as well as my office numbers to the mayor on several different letters. Call me or my production manager.
Let me give you that cell phone number.
Okay.
It is 770-893-7498.
How can we be assured that you're going to fix this problem? You say it's an ongoing thing. So how can we be assured that you are going to fix this problem?
I'm doing everything that I can possibly think of from an engineering standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint, and from a process control standpoint. That's all I can do. Is I can't give you a 100% guarantee. I can tell you that I am doing everything I possibly can.
Well, for one, I'm gonna make a statement. I want to see it fixed. I'm like the gentleman out there. I'm tired of the
I think
smell.
everybody's in the same, and I'm the same way. I'm part of this community. I want to be a good neighbor. I want to be a part of this community in good standing. And that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why, if I don't have the answers, I have no problem going out and getting consultants to come in and help me with this issue.
Sir, you spent $800,000 in the last
Yes.
couple of years. It hasn't fixed the problem. Pilgrim's Pride is aware of the problem. you spent 30 years doing this. Are they going to spend more money on it? Are we going to just do consultants? I mean, there's the problem is so large. You know, it affects everybody in Russellville. It affects employees. You know, if y'all shut down, you're going to lose jobs. We don't want to do that, but I want some reassurances from Pilgrim's Pride that they're $800,000. That's pennies at a bigger problem. We need it fixed. If it takes $2 million, $10 million, fix it. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how much it costs. It's not. It just needs to be fixed.
May I don't intend to beat a dead horse here, but at an early stage, I think back in either 2011, I believe it was, or 2012, I was advised that there was an ozone process that was being looked at to help eliminate this situation. And we waited some length of time, and that didn't happen. And then I was told that there were several reasons for that, either money or some other reasons. And then I don't recall exactly at what time there was a second process that I was advised that was going to be put into place, and that has not occurred either. And I'm not positive, but I think in my documentation here I have some feedback of a third recommendation or a third process. And you know, I know this is painful for you. It's painful for everybody involved. But I have been mayor. I'm in my 4th year as mayor now. And this year is the first year in 4 years that I have received complaints from citizens that are north of the interstate in Russellville complaining about the odor. Now, there's always been complaints, as you have heard here this evening, for many, many years, mostly from the south side of town. But those folks they're needing relief, and they need it desperately. And you know, at some point in time, we have to make a decision here as a council. What's the better course of action that we should take in regard to this? Because I have not asked, and I thought about doing that, getting appraisers to give me their opinion about how this has impacted the property values in the city of Russellville. I'm not sure that can be determined other than a statement to say that this is a definite effect of the property values of Russellville. I know there are people who work here, and I feel for them and their jobs. And in that same thought, I question how many other jobs and possible developments might have come to Russellville that may have been turned away as a result of this situation. And I'm looking at it in that regard. And it is a tough decision that we need to make.
Mayor, over by the high school, sometimes it's so bad at the high school you can't stand it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Craig, how many people do you employ at your plant?
Approximately 36.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
what authority does the city of Russellville have to act in this regard, especially considering the fact that ADEQ is involved?
I think you'd have to rely on the common law claim of public nuisance and try and file a lawsuit under that. Try and get an injunction to where the operation of the plant stopped until it can be shown that it can operate without the smell.
I want to ask one more time here, and I think I heard you make this statement, Mr. Craig, but I need clarification on it. What is the tonnage of material that you are running through there basically on a daily basis?
Weekly basis of $2.2 million, 2.2 million pounds.
2.2 million pounds on a weekly basis, okay. I also heard you state that there's nothing coming from out of state, and most of what you get here is from mom and pop grocery operations.
Not most of it, no, sir.
Well, what was that then?
That's probably, we're probably getting about 200,000 pounds from the smaller butcher
Grocery
shops
stores.
and places of that nature.
200,000 out of
Shops, you said, in
2.5
grocery
million?
stores.
Yes, sir.
Is that how?
And the remainder of that, is that poultry or is that some other?
The remainder of it's poultry.
Okay. All right.
So,
Any-
Miss- can-
any
can
other- yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I despise the odor. I really despise the odor, and I live a pretty good distance from the plant, and this summer it's been awful. It's been just horrible. And I've listened to here tonight, and you've talked about how old this plant is. I'm gonna call it a plant. And you really haven't given us, or I haven't perceived, that you've given us any insight on a fixable, something that's fixable. Is there anything out there that is fixable, and do you have a time frame for fixing it?
I'm bringing it up to our engineering staff at Pilgrim's Pride in Colorado on a regular basis, and I've been assured by them that it will be fixed. That's as best as I can do. I can't speak for all of Pilgrim's Pride, but that's what I've been assured by our Department of Environmental Quality in Pilgrim's.
Because I'm ready to ask, to tell the mayor, my opinion is to go ahead and pursue whatever it takes for the citizens of Russellville to get this resolved.
I agree.
I mean, I moved here in 1972, and it was an odor then, and now it's 2014, and there's still an odor. And recently, there was a concert over there at the high school, just driving by there. I held my breath from Atwoods to what I got around the bend. I mean, I did not want to breathe. And I don't think, and I feel sorry for all the businesses that are out there, the Tri-Mountain Pools, the Bearfields, the Kirby's, all of those people. They too have employees, and they shouldn't have to endure this every day for weeks upon weeks. And I would like to see you give us a definite date when this is going to be done, or I would like to see the mayor pursue whatever it takes to bring a judge into it, lawyers, and get us an answer for all the people of our town. I'll smile.
Anybody else?
Well, I just, I want to be sure everybody understands. I don't think anybody on this side of the table really wants to file a lawsuit on you. They don't want to threaten your job. They would all like to see this worked out. I grew up in a town with a paper mill, so I know sometimes that's part of you take the good with the bad with industry. But see, I'm the new guy here. I've only been here 24 years. I don't remember the 70s when it was really bad. What I do know is that in my 24 years here, the last 2 or 3 years, it has gotten worse and worse and worse, and it's more frequent. The other thing I know, I've been told in the last, since this discussion came up, by 2 different people, and before anybody says anything, this is not connected to our economic development team, the chamber, or anybody. These are 2 individuals, a realtor and another guy, talking about people that came here looking to locate a business here. They looked around, and then the last thing we heard from them is, "What's that smell?" Now, when I asked you about follow up on Mayor's question there about what you're processing, you told me that you're processing basically byproducts from mom and pop grocery stores, and now after further investigation, that's 200,000 pounds out of 2.5 million. It strikes me as a little odd that the mom and pop came to your mind first when it's, 1%? 1/10%? That's a very small items. So I'm starting to question whether you're being a little bit disingenuous with us on the whole story, because that part there, you knew what I was looking for.
No, I beg your pardon, I do not know what you're looking for.
I'm done, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. Anything else?
Mr. Craig, do you think you could come back to us next month and give us more firm information, more definite information, more, something so people can make a decision based off of?
Let
Most
me
definitely.
piggyback off what Mr. Tripp is saying. Can someone from your corporate office who has actually some authorization to spend some money and fix this, come and talk to the council? If they really are interested in improving this process, like you say, and fixing this issue, I would think a plane ticket would be a pretty cheap way to come back and try to convince this council and this city and this community that you really are serious about fixing this.
Okay. Yes, I think I could commit to that, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else on this item?